Are you okay, honey? You not like Star Wars? We always put a Star Wars man up there. You want to put a Star Wars man up there for the review?
No.
Do you want to tell everybody what you thought of Star Wars?
Star Wars was fucking sacrificed on the holy altar in front of everyone, and his fucking beating heart was pulled out, and we just watched it beat and slowly stop right on fucking screen. That's my fucking review of Star Wars.
Goody. Good evening and welcome to Night at the Movies. Tonight we saw The Last Jedi.
Fuck you, Disney.
Oh my god.
When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. And beyond that, something truly special.
We knew that Disney was going to Disneyfy Star Wars. We already saw that they toned it way down. It was no longer the dark, gritty, lived-in universe that we were used to. There's no more dark humor. There's no more adult themes. It's all much more childish. We saw that coming, but I remember I made predictions that before Force Awakens, I knew that it was going to be basically an homage to New Hope. We were going to film another prediction before this movie, and I was too hopeful in my predictions. I thought that they were going to ape themes from Empire Strikes Back, which they did do, but they did it very sloppily. Like, the movie starts off the same way even. Disney went too fucking far. Too far. It has turned into a complete slapstick nonsense fest.
The text crawl was so fast, like it was so short.
Basically, nothing happened between the first movie and the second movie.
I had little pretzel bites and I went to dip my little pretzel bite in the cheese, and when I looked back up, the text was gone and I didn't even get to read the last half. Also, I saw the word tyranny and I thought it said tranny, and I realized I've been fighting with TERFs on Twitter a little too much and I should take a break.
The opening scene was actually one of the better parts of the movie. There was a decent action scene. You get to see Poe Dameron. He's back and he's the best X-Wing pilot ever and he's awesome.
Poe kind of turned out to be one of the only people who had like a character arc, and one of the only characters that was a little more deep.
His superiors didn't like him. He had a lot of learning to do. He was brash, but then he ends up learning by the end of the movie that he needs to be more thoughtful and more reserved. Do you remember the first interaction between Poe and Kylo Ren in Force Awakens, where he's like, "Do I talk or you talk? I talk or you talk?" In Force Awakens, that was a little much, but I mean, it was fine because there wasn't much more of that in the movie. This movie was like only that.
That was the whole movie.
Every time that something serious was happening, there would be a stupid joke.
And it would be like,
awkward! And then it would ruin the tension. Poe Dameron's gonna attack Hux's ship with the X-Wing. And Hux is like, "This is the First Order, you will die." And Poe Dameron's like, "I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm holding for Hux. Are you Hux?" And then Hux is like, "Can he hear us? Can he hear me?" And it ruins the opening scene.
It's kind of doing the whole Marvel thing, because like Marvel humor has been that awkward for a little while, like in the new Thor Ragnarok. Is that what it's called? Thor's hanging and he's like, "Oh wait, let me spin around again." It's like awkward. It's like Star Wars is doing that now, and it's like you can tell it's all by the same company. That Disney-ish humor. If
you look at Captain America, Winter Soldier, even Civil War, those movies were much grittier and more adult and handled much more deep themes. People have always argued that Star Wars is a kid's movie, it's a kid's series, and it sort of is to a certain degree, but it's always explored very adult themes and had very gritty, dark kind of tones. Return of the Jedi, even that movie's kind of gritty and dark, like look at Jabba the Hutt. If anything, Marvel is more geared towards children than Star Wars. Yet somehow Disney's Marvel division today is grittier and darker and more adult. Somehow Star Wars is now super clean cut, very crisp, super HD and bright and shiny, and has childish humor, childish jokes.
What about Rogue One though? That was super dark.
Rogue One wasn't a great movie, but it was very,
It was depressing.
it was more adult than this
Yeah.
one.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I need help.
Let's get to the main character, Rey. Extremely boring.
What even is Rey's character? She's boring,
What even is Rey?
doesn't do anything surprising. She's like fucking Harry Potter.
She kind of reminds me of just like a video game character, but from a video game that doesn't have a good story or anything. You just kind of like control the character and it does things. That's her. Like, she's just like doing things.
In a lot of ways, protagonists are supposed to kind of be blank slate-ish so that anybody can, you know, put themselves in
But
their
this
shoes.
much,
But this character, she doesn't have any flaws other than she doesn't know who her parents are.
remember when Luke was like, "Your powers are too strong. I was never scared, but now I am." I was like, oh, this reminds me of the other movie when like she's randomly flying the Millennium Falcon and like Han Solo was like, "Whoa, this is crazy. You're
Rey-
so good."
Then Rey and Han are like swapping tips on how to like bypass the compressor or whatever. This time it's worse because Chewie shows up to talk to Luke and fucking Rey translates Chewie to Luke. Like, Rey, you've known Chewie for a fucking week. Luke has known Chewie for decades. I think if either of you know how to fucking translate what Chewie's saying, it's fucking Luke.
She woman-splained hard.
She is woman-splained, yeah.
Finn is so irrelevant.
Finn is, instead of boring, he's a stupid character. The first time you see Finn, he wakes up out of his hospital bed and all slapsticky falls out and he's wearing a water bottle that's pouring everywhere.
He could have still been in a coma for this whole movie and like nothing would have changed, and maybe he wakes up in the next movie and does something, because in this movie he did nothing.
Doesn't he look hot in that leather jacket though? Finn meets a new character, Rose, and they go on an adventure together, and she
Anime waifu.
is such an irrelevant character, and she takes up like at least a third of the entire screen time.
You could tell they were going for like a cutesy, quirky character, but she just came off as like not charming at all, just kind of like, why?
She acted like an anime character. She was like an anime character. She had anime hair, and she even did that oh my god thing that anime characters do. She was kind of cute though.
No, she was just annoying.
She was cute, like in the little sister sort of way, like the please God, Mom, don't make me bring her along
I
sort
guess,
of way.
yeah. And like her and Finn's chemistry, there was none.
She was just like a fangirl of his because he was like a hero of the rebellion.
Rule number one is never date fangirls. You know that, right? You shouldn't date fangirls. It is always a very, very bad idea. Do not date fangirls. There is. Right? It's a bad idea.
That's not been my experience. There was a new Admiral Jurassic Park lady with purple hair, and she ends up being sort of a protagonist a little bit in the movie. At least she's framed as like she's a bad guy and she's making all the wrong decisions.
She's like tough. She's a tough leader.
Poe has to basically try to figure out how to convince her to do the right thing. Her character is intentionally mysterious because you need to be able to believe Poe doesn't trust her. And we as the audience can't trust her because we don't know anything about her. Leia and Luke, they don't really do much character. Well, Luke does a little bit of character development, but Leia doesn't really do any. She's basically just good old reliable Leia the entire time. Kylo was my favorite character in the last movie. He still ends up being the most interesting character because he's still on an ever-changing character arc. He's embarrassed and humiliated by his loss against Rey from the first movie. He's still physically scarred. Snoke is pissed at him, and he's still got his helmet on, and they like intentionally make the robotic voice on the helmet sound even more annoying than usual, just so Snoke could be like, take that stupid thing off your head. He has to take the mask off, and like it's like a growing up moment for him. It is really childish for him to wear that mask, because Darth Vader wore it because he literally needed to. It's like a fanboy thing. That's the first thing you see from him, is him literally growing up from his experience, but then also finding out basically that he's even more at odds with his master than before. So he's got a huge motivation in the movie. He still has conflict in him. He's still fighting between the light and the dark. He's still trying to become super dark, but even Snoke sees, and he's like pissed about this because he's trying to purge that from himself. Rey is going to try to get him to turn back to good. So like Kylo actually has something interesting happening.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now.
Movies do have three, usually like multiple plots going on, but this movie felt like three different movies. It felt like each plot was directed by a different person.
Technically, the main story was the Rey being trained by Luke storyline. That felt very Star Wars. There's actually like weird animals and weird aliens on this planet. Luke drinks weird blue milk out of an animal that's on the beach,
God,
and
so
the
gross.
animal that he drinks the milk from is disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, that's Star Wars. He ends up killing a fish, and he's carrying the dead fish on his back, and the fish looks horrible. That's Star Wars. Luke trains Rey just as Yoda trained him, but Luke ends up doing it in a very cynical, like, the Jedi are terrible, these are your lessons.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, though it's a little bit more cheesy. The only real problem with it was that you only get these quick snippets. They show you these very brief moments of this happening, and then they make you go back to shittier parts of the movie that you don't want to watch. I felt like the pacing was fucked. I felt
The
like
tone, the pacing.
you didn't even really get to experience the scene and process it before you're on to the next thing.
The other plotline was Poe and the purple hair lady, like their power battle for controlling the ship.
Yeah, Poe just got demoted. Princess Leia is indisposed. They've got this new admiral in, and the new admiral's a hard ass and doesn't respect Poe, and Poe thinks she's making all the wrong decisions. That's sort of intriguing, but on its own, that doesn't really hold up, because what's actually happening in that scene is a very small group of rebel ships is barely outrunning a huge fleet of First Order ships. Time is running out. So this is the tension.
Yeah.
Time is running out. And if all the people in the movie fail, if all three plot lines fail, then those rebels die. But the thing is, that's for 2 hours. The ships are running away.
Yeah.
For 2 hours, it's a turtle snail chase. That's like a filler episode for like a Star Wars Clone Wars show.
Yeah.
That's what you'd expect from a serial, not like a mainline story for a huge, big budget movie series.
I feel like this entire movie was like that, though. I feel like this entire movie wasn't good enough to be a movie.
There's nothing that makes this movie stand out from any other movie.
It's gonna be a very forgettable episode of Star Wars in this whole series.
The original trilogy is timeless. It still holds up. These new movies aren't really meant to last like that. Like, already I'm bored with Force Awakens. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. They're gonna feel dated very soon.
The third plot. The third one.
So this is kind of like a side story, but Finn and his new pal, the Rose, have to go to a casino planet to find this master hacker.
This subplot, whatever, is that what it's called? Subplot? It didn't feel like Star Wars at all. I completely forgot I was watching a Star Wars movie. It felt like it took place on Earth in a casino.
You know what it reminded me of?
Took me out of
It
the
kind
movie.
of reminded me of the movie The Golden Compass. Have you ever seen that movie?
We watched it together.
It's like whimsical. It's like a little girl's fairy tale.
I'd hire myself an armored bear.
I will serve you in your campaign.
Not a Star Wars episode. That entire subplot doesn't end up amounting to anything. It could have been completely removed from the movie and it would not have affected the plot at all.
I swear to God, they put it in the movie to like kind of push this like rich people suck, also save the animals thing, right? What was that? Oh, these people make money off weapons. It's bad. Also, they whip these horse dog animals and it's bad, and like she sets the animals free and she's like, now I can rest easy or something.
Yeah, that whole subplot
What?
basically amounts to rich people are bad, save the animals, and don't trust people who are clearly not trustworthy.
Oh yeah.
Let the past die. Kill it. If you have to. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be.
The best part, the aminals. What did you think of the aminals?
The animals were the worst part.
The animals were the best part. The animals were the only good part.
The animals were the worst part. The animals represent everything that was wrong with it. It's no secret that I'm not a fan of the porgs. I've been ranting about them on Twitter forever now. I was really upset because they're designed clearly to be cute. They're designed clearly to like trick little kids into wanting to watch this movie because it's the cutest little animal ever. But that's not what Star Wars is about. It's always been about grungy, gritty, weird, off-putting animals. Some things that are scaly and weird shaped. This is like a cutesy little bird with giant eyes designed to make you go, aww. The porgs ended up being one of the okayest parts of the movie, believe it or not. They didn't end up bugging me that much. This is an avian animal, a bird with dinosaur features like the bird feet, them bird legs, yet has a mammalian face. This is actually kind of Star Wars if you think about it, because it's actually an ungodly chimera created by the fucking fallen angels with ancient pyramid technology from the fucking bottomless pit. This is unsettling and uncanny valley-ish, so you know what? Good job, Disney.
Is that why you don't like them? They're scary? They're not. Look at him.
I'm not afraid of it.
He loves you.
It's an invasive species, too. Chewie's parked his ship on the planet for like a day and they're already nesting in the Millennium Falcon. I liked actually how one of the first times you see them, Chewie starts to eat one. Like he has one cooked.
It's like a little roasted chicken. And he can't eat it because all the little porgs are staring at him while he's about to take a bite of this little roasted porg. Would you eat this?
No. Because it's disgusting.
So there was another animal, a new animal. It was these big puppy horse things at the casino planet, aka Earth.
Yeah, they were like ripped right from an anime. Rose knew about these animals already, so she goes up and she's like, I've never seen one in person before. And it looks like The Last Guardian.
Yeah.
It's like this sweet
Almost
little puppy dog
exactly.
face designed by a cuteness expert team specifically to make little girls go, aww. Not Star Wars. Star Wars does not have cute fucking big dog
Listen,
animals.
I just think you're angry, and I like this direction that Star Wars is going, let me just say. I think they're doing a great job. You just gotta take your nostalgia goggles off.
Star Wars is
You're
not
drinking
a little
Haterade.
girl's fairy tale.
You're drinking Haterade. Open your eyes. This is Star Wars now. The ice crystal dogs, wolves.
That was even dumber. They're like some sort of fairy tale creature. They're all crystalline and shiny and glowing. And for some reason, when the bad guys showed up, they huddled in the safety of the good guys like they knew one side was good and one was bad.
Yeah, those ice dogs, they were really cute though.
That's my problem. Not Star Wars. They like turned Star Wars into the Golden Compass little girl's fairy tale mixed with some sort of weird weeaboo anime fantasy and then mash that together and put Mark Hamill in it.
See, that sounds awesome, which wasn't this movie, so maybe you're wrong. No more negativity. What are some
Okay.
things? Try.
Wait, we need to get in my Zen
Okay,
spot.
sorry. This might take a while,
One eternity later.
Okay, I'm ready.
so. Okay. Things that we liked about the movie.
I laughed twice. Once at the casino with BB-8 being a slot machine. The other time, all these like little fish ladies that lived on Luke's island, they all hated Rey. Rey cuts a rock in half, and the rock smashes into one of the fish ladies' carts, and it's played off perfectly. I liked the opening action scene, even though Poe's lines ruined it. Poe was awesome in that scene. And the bombing run, even though it was really stupidly executed, was kind of neat, high tension. Rey is brought into the throne room,
Yes.
and Kylo Ren. That action scene is amazing.
That was my favorite scene in the movie, I think, besides the porgs.
Yeah, I would say that that's my favorite scene too.
I thought the red was really
Oh,
neat.
the set was stupid. The set looked like
This is-
an original Star Trek
This is positive
episode where they used to put up curtains and put red lights on them.
This is
and
this
call
is
that the
positive
sky.
Time.
You see what you've done, Disney?
Go
Even though
back to the happy place.
we're supposed to be talking about the things we liked. I have nothing but complaints.
The island that Luke was chilling at, that whole thing was cool, I thought.
That was the most, like I said, the most Star
Most
Warsy
Star
part.
Warsy.
There's some nice callbacks. All the effects on the island were actually practical. They used suits and puppets and stuff. Plus, it was kind of just nice to see like Luke Skywalker again. What else did we like? That was about it.
Wow.
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
On to a longer segment.
Things
That we
didn't
didn't like. So this is the official spoiler part of the review. So skip ahead to this time frame to see what we thought of the movie and our final recommendation.
So skip here if you don't want to hear spoilers.
Ready in 3, 2, 1.
Porgs can fly!
So Last Jedi literally picks up right where Force Awakens left off. Rey is still standing right in front of Luke holding the lightsaber. We've been waiting for 2 years to see what Luke's reaction is going to be. And Luke looks at it, and just like Jack Sparrow would do in Pirates of the Caribbean, throws it over his shoulder and walks away.
The audience laughed. I'm like, oh.
That's a funny joke and everything, but this is not Pirates of the Caribbean. 2 years to see how Luke Skywalker is going to react to seeing the most iconic piece of hardware that he has ever interacted with in his entire fucking life. This lightsaber should mean everything to him. This lightsaber, he fought his father with it. It belonged to his father. It was gifted to him by Obi-Wan Kenobi, his biggest mentor.
Well, maybe that was the thing they were going for, was just like that, oh, there's 2 years, oh, this important thing, and he just throws it. But I feel like it could have been better if he, like, just dropped it in front of her. But the way they played it off as comedic, like, you're just like...
No, I would have been fine with that if he,
If you just, like-
if he didn't know what to do and just dropped it
And walked away.
away. That was one possibility.
He threw it like I throw the wage gap button in my video. So Leia's on the bridge of a ship, and Kylo Ren's in his ship, and he has the target sighted right where Leia is, his mom, and he's about to shoot and kill his mom and blow up the ship.
And this is a super tense moment.
Very tense.
Because Kylo's already been faced with having to kill his dad, and he did it without hesitating. And now he's faced with having to kill his mom, and he had just been dressed down by Snoke for not being dark side enough. And this is a moment where he really has to prove himself. He's literally got his fucking mother in his sights.
At the last second, he takes the sights off and just flies away. But then the guys in back of him,
His wingmen.
his butt buddies, blow up the ship, and fucking Leia fucking dies, and she's floating in space. And I'm
Now
like,
think about how meaningful this would be. Kylo Ren finally is faced with the moment where he has to kill his mother, because this is a thing that Sith have to do. They have to purge themselves of their past. And he doesn't do it, and she dies anyways.
Yep.
That would have been fucking epic.
Yeah.
But
Leia's floating in space, and they have the light on her, and I'm like, oh, are they doing this because Carrie Fisher like really died? Like I thought it was like a peaceful thing. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like this is really tragic. Oh my god, I can't believe Leia died. All of a sudden, she goes and fucking flies back to the ship like Superman.
Princess Leia can fly!
You know why else this is terrible though? It's because Carrie Fisher died in real life. God bless.
Now she has to die off camera, and they have to explain at the beginning title crawl of the next movie that she died in some meaningless way between movies.
It would have been worth it to reshoot some of this movie to make it so she actually does die in that crash. Because honestly, nothing would have changed.
But instead she survives, but then comes back and she's just fucking in a coma for the entire movie. For like an hour and a half, it's like Princess Leia sleepy nap time, while Poe Dameron ends up fighting with Purple Hair Lady. So as we said, the whole side plot with Finn and Rose going to the casino planet ends up amounting to nothing. They're trying to find this code breaker, and it's a master code breaker, the only man in the galaxy that can do it. And they have to bring him back to Snoke's ship to hack something. So they end up in prison because they parked their ship on the beach, which is the stupidest reason to get arrested ever.
It's so much like Earth. What was this plot? It's like, oh, I parked my ship in the wrong area.
They end up literally in jail for parking their ship on the beach. In prison, they meet this guy who says he's a code breaker. He looks like a fucking hobo. He's in prison, so he's clearly not that great a guy. Everything they find out about him is a fucking red flag. He's a prisoner, looks like a hobo, steals a ship. Then he tells them the rich people that they hate so much because they sell weapons to the Empire. Turns out they sell weapons to the rebels too. Both the rebels and the Empire are bad, so he thinks everybody's bad.
That's a red flag.
So this man has no loyalties. What is that? Prisoner, hobo, thief, with no loyalties. And in the least surprising plot twist in plot twist history, double crosses them. Who would have thought that the least trustworthy man that we've ever seen in a Star Wars movie turns out he's not that trustworthy. Imagine my shock.
Finn and Captain Phasma have this epic showdown battle.
Turns out Captain Phasma...
Hold on, baby. I'm not done. Wait, you talk for like 7 hours. Can I at least say something?
At least I'm saying interesting things.
Oh my god. Porgs are very interesting. So Captain Phasma and Finn have this big, epic showdown that lasts 5 seconds.
She shows up right at the end, and then for 5 seconds, she and Finn hit each other with sticks. Then Finn hits her really hard, and then she goes, "You were always broken." And then she falls through the fucking floor into a pit of fire. Best character ever.
Buy the toys.
Buy all the merchandise.
I know it's very cliche to say about these movies, but this was probably the most obvious merchandise pushing episode. There was like the bigger snow camels, and there was the porgs, and there was the other cute animals, and there was the executioners.
I don't go to the Disney store that often, but whenever I'm in New York, I'll pop in. And the only new merchandise that they have from the fucking new movie is that shitty red guy that's the Emperor Protector and the fucking Executioner. What kid wants to take home the Executioner? Hey, kids, let's play with the fucking Executioner. Let's chop people's fucking heads off with the Executioner. Fun times for kids.
So I thought there would be like more of the executioners in this movie. They were literally on screen for like 3 seconds. Fucking obvious, like they're trying to get people like you who collect all the shit.
Not only that, there was another one. They had the Snow Trooper, an extreme conditions trooper. It's got like a different mask and a different helmet or whatever, and it's got the Snow Trooper gear like in Empire Strikes Back. But There's no reason for there to be these extreme weather troopers. Everyone else on that planet isn't even wearing a helmet. All the guys that fight them on the speeders have like an open cockpit and no helmet on. So why did they need these special snow troopers on this planet? If not to just sell the toy for the snow trooper.
You know what was funny though? One of your observations about this movie was how they were on a snow planet, and then while we're watching the movie, some guy, I forgot who, like tasted it, and he's like, oh, salt. It was like they were pointing out, hey guys, it's not like
It's not
episode...
a snow planet, it's a salt planet.
Guys, it's not like that other Star Wars. It's not snow, actually. It's salt.
So apparently those are salt troopers.
Salt troopers, aka Greg's Twitter mentions. Salt Planet, aka Twitter. Okay, babe. Deep breaths. Here we go. The ending. Let's talk about...
The ending is fucking stupid. This movie managed to keep me somewhat entertained in the first act, though it was a little rocky.
It was like this.
Second act was a little bit lower, but there was a nice little peak when Rey and Kylo fight in Snoke's room. But then the end of the movie
Oh my god.
is ridiculous. And it's basically a fucking anime. Disney turned Star Wars into a fucking anime. Luke shows up to the planet out of nowhere.
I'm already laughing.
You know, you could tell something's up because he's got the blue lightsaber, the Anakin lightsaber, and we've already seen it destroyed. He comes out and he ends up facing all the camel walkers all at once, and just like an anime, they shoot all their weapons at him at the same time, but he's like Goku. He's just walks out.
He walks out.
He walks out of all the blasts and just goes.
He goes like this.
I'm Goku. Kylo comes out and he ends up facing him one-to-one. They both pull out their lightsabers and
Like
stare
this.
at each other like this. They're like 20 feet away from each other, the wind is blowing, and it's straight up like an anime. It's clearly they're on a soundstage. This is the most obvious they're on a soundstage moment in the entire movie. All of a sudden the graphics just break. Then the dialogue in this scene is ridiculous. I'm the most powerful, haha. No, you're not, I am, haha.
I'm already fucking crying because I know what's coming up and I can't.
Kylo straight up runs at Luke. Then Luke basically does the moment that Obi-Wan does. Almost does the whole, if you kill me now, I'll be more powerful than ever before. Except Kylo runs up like, ah, and then slices him right down the middle, turns around,
Luke's fine.
and Luke's fine. So then he turns around again and does it again, and nothing happens. And then, swear to fucking God, the most weebish fucking line. Like, I'm surprised that Luke wasn't wearing a fucking fedora when he said this. He goes, see you round, kid, and disappears. And Kylo goes, no!
It's like fucking Sonic. Nothing personal, kid. And then it turns out that Luke was like meditating on a mountain in the island.
Yeah, somehow he's astral projecting himself. This is not something that's been established in the Star Wars universe. This has never fucking happened before. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Luke is not actually there. He was pretending to be there and seeing an astral projection of him trying to swipe him with a lightsaber. So they ruin the whole you strike me down now and I'll become more powerful moment. But then Luke just dies anyway.
He dies anyway. Why couldn't he have died in a tragic way?
It turns out Luke was on that island planet the whole time, looks at the sun, and then just disappears and is actually dead.
He disappears twice. He disappears fucking twice.
So his death is meaningless. Both Luke and Leia. So Leia
They could have died tragically.
could have died tragically and meaningfully.
Meaningful.
And then Luke could have died meaningfully.
Tragically too.
And they ruined both of those deaths.
Could you imagine if Kylo actually shot Luke to death with all those guns and that was like that blunt point? That's how Luke fucking dies. What was that? He was just a hologram? He was a ghost? What?
He was a ghost.
He was a fucking ghost?
But he was still alive, but then he died 3 seconds later for no reason. Luke Skywalker's last line ever is, see you round, kid. was like a fucking parody. It was like a parody.
This is not going to go the way you think. Fulfill your destiny.
So, how do you rate this movie? I would give it... Babe!
Fucking assholes, you
Welcome to the Porg Show.
Disney turned Star Wars into fucking anime now. I rate this a fucking 2 out of 10. This is the worst Star Wars ever. It's actually worse than the fucking prequels. The best way to celebrate the holiday season this year is to buy Armored Media merchandise. Let all your friends and family know you love them by buying my merch. Thank you for watching. You guys know the drill. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, please consider supporting Armored Media through Patreon and by buying our merch. The links are in the description.